Welcome to A Meaningful Marketplace.
I'm Sarah Massoni from Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center, where I've helped countless dreamers launch their new food products. It's the science of taking a food delight from the kitchen to mass manufacturing and still keeping its great taste. That's what I do. I've been called the woman with the $1 million palate, although I haven't tried to cash that check yet. Listen in weekly for real-life stories.
I'm Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce and author of Preservation Pantry, modern canning from root to top and stem to core. I love inspiring business owners to get started on their journeys, encouraging folks to be part of their local community, and I'm excited to help business owners tell their stories. Join us as we explore the journeys of women entrepreneurs in the food and beverage industry. Hello and welcome to Massoni and Marshall, the Meaningful Marketplace. We are here weekly to discuss the journeys of female entrepreneurs. We're glad that you joined us today as we bring you stories of hope and inspiration. This is Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce.
And Sarah Massoni of Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center. Hi, Sarah Marshall.
Hi, Sarah Massoni. I want to know all about the chocolate festival in Ashland this weekend that you were at. Can you tell me about it?
This was the 20th anniversary chocolate festival. We had 60 vendors there, and probably, I imagine 300 to 500 people came to taste and buy chocolate and get some technical training on different types of chocolate and pairings with beer and wine and how to make bread with chocolate. And also participants that our artisan chocolate makers could enter their chocolate into a competition. And I was an official judge along with Charlie Douglas. And Charlie Douglas is a retired chocolatier who ran the candy programs for Harry and David's in Medford. And he grew up in the chocolate industry. I think from age 9, he started working in his family's candy factory out east. And then eventually ended up here in Oregon and has worked making candies his whole life.
That's so cool.
When you hang out with him,
when you are a judge for these kinds of things, I know you do a lot of cheese judging and chocolate judging. Do you reach out to them, or do they reach out to you like a job interview?
So I got this gig because of one of our pals, Judy Ann Wu. Mm-hmm. Judy Ann has done work with Ashland Hills Hotel, which is where the event is. It's down on the south part of Ashland. It's a beautiful old 60s retro hotel that they've refurbished, and they have some big meeting rooms and big restaurants, stuff like that. And they kick off the weekend with a big dinner at the Ashland Springs Hotel downtown. And they have 4 or 5 courses of food with chocolate and vintners. So people with vineyards are there talking about how they paired their wine with each of the courses of the meal. It was really fun. But mostly I got this gig because I got referred by Judy Ann. Thanks, Judy Ann.
Thanks, Judy Ann. That's so great.
Judy Ann's like, you can judge chocolate, right? I'm like, oh, yes.
So of course you can.
It's really similar, actually. Chocolate is really similar to dairy. I was thinking about it. It has 2 different states. It can be liquid and solid, just like milk and cream. We can have it as a liquid, or we can have it as a fermented solid or frozen. And, there's a lot of similar taste profiles that we look for in dairy and in chocolate, unbelievably. And some people put dairy products into chocolate. That's how we get milk.
You can combine them both.
Yeah. So it's fun to sit and listen and talk about chocolate. So some of the key flavors that we find in chocolate are bitter, astringent, roasted. It could be smoky, earthy, woody, dried fruit, lots of dark fruity notes, because cocoa beans are actually fermented. Right? So they come in this funny big pod that gets cut open, and the seeds have a fruity mucilage, like a fruity body around the seed. You can actually eat them right out of the pod. I ate one. Ate it, chewed it. I was like cajoling people, trying to get them to eat it. One lady ate it, She wanted to spit it out, but I swallowed it. It was great. It's sweet and tart and juicy. And then the inside is sort of like a cacao bean, but not hard and dried out. It's more moist. So anyway, I recommend eating one every
Cool.
chance you get.
If I ever get the opportunity, I will try it for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, fun. Thanks for updating us about the Chocolate Fest.
Oh, one other thing. I ate so much chocolate on Saturday that I fell asleep from the chocolate and sugar, and I woke up at midnight, and then I was awake till 3 a.m. from midnight to 3 a.m. and I was texting with Elsie Dinville. In the middle of the night, we were talking about all sorts of things.
She is one of my late night texter pals as well.
Yeah, she's a night owl for
she's
sure.
a night owl. I always know that I can send Elsie a message very late. And
yeah, I enjoyed that. So it was a great extended time down there in Ashland with snow even.
Perfect. Well,
yeah, it was great.
Once they announce some of the winners of the Chocolate Fest, you'll have to update us and we'll tag them in the show notes.
Okay.
We want to thank our sponsor for supporting Smithsonian Marshall. Thank you for helping us spread the word about entrepreneurs. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. The Northwest and Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center is the proud sponsor of the Meaningful Marketplace podcast, giving a voice to food from across the 6-state region of Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. The Food Business Center supports Northwest and Rocky Mountain food industry makers as part of the USDA's National Network of Food Business Centers, supporting a more resilient, diverse, and competitive food system as a go-to source for small and mid-tier food and farm businesses with a focus on underserved communities, providing education in the form of technical knowledge, business programs, and industry news. We sponsor trade shows, meetups, and conferences to connect growers, producers, retailers, distributors, and processors, all to stimulate business and raise the standards of our storied food industry. Join us as we travel through the 6-state region, learning more about food makers, food hubs, and food systems. Visit the website at Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Businesses.com to get connected. And we are joined in the studio today by Stacy Givens. Stacy is the owner of Side Yard Farm and Kitchen in Portland, Oregon. Side Yard Urban Farm is a seed-to-plate catering and farm venue serving Portland, Oregon since 2009. Welcome, Stacy.
Hey, thanks for having me back, you guys. It's good to be here.
It's so good to see you. It's been so long. So just so our listeners know, we do have an interview with Stacy up on the podcast from April of 2021. So
3 years ago.
Quite a while ago. I feel like it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but when I looked it up, I was like, yeah, that was a while ago. So that is episode 76. If you want to listen to that, it goes into some of the history and start of Side Yard Farm. But we also want the listeners to be able to find you on social media, and maybe not everyone has listened to that show, so we'll talk about all kinds of things, but let's tell them how to find you online first off.
Yeah, we are on Instagram. That's kind of how we get most of our information out of monthly events we have throughout the season. Anything we're up to, you'll find it on Instagram. Facebook, we dabble here and there. And then our website has everything you need to know at thesideyardpdx.com.
Perfect.
That's great.
And there's been a big change. The biggest change since we've talked to you last, I think, is that you're a parent now.
Yes, I I didn't think I was busy enough, so I decided to have a baby. Life has completely flipped upside down. It's like I wish somebody would have just said, "Hey, you'll never sleep again." Like nobody just said, like, with a period at the end, and that's kind of it. Like, what's it like having a kid? Oh, yeah, you'll never sleep again. That's kind of that's what's up. I'm tired. Hi. I decided to get pregnant or start trying anyways at the tail end of 2021, and then finally got pregnant summer of 2022, and she is almost a year old. Her name is Sula, and it's a Greek name. March 28th. I can't believe it.
That's so cool. Well, congratulations. And that is amazing. And we love to talk to parents who are also business owners about
Yeah.
what that ride is like. And I just before we get into it, I will tell you that you will be able to sleep again.
Yes.
It will be a while from now, but you will. My child is now 10, and I don't even think about those times where I can't sleep because they go to bed promptly at 7 and sleep 7 p.m. and sleep until 7 a.m. without any wake ups or interruptions. So I will just let you know that that is a future that could be yours.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. I do have a stepdaughter who's almost 8 years old, so I get a little glimpse of that as well. And she's super helpful with Sula, which has been awesome. But yeah, definitely been interesting trying to run two businesses and have a almost 1-year-old. So
That's good.
What are the biggest changes you've noticed for farm life with having a child be part of that experience?
Well, my body just isn't the same, I'm sure,
Mhm.
as you know, and I've been having some difficulties with my back since I was like 6 months pregnant. So I've been in physical therapy. So I haven't really been physically active in the farm, like everyday labor since I was pregnant and in the like all of last season. And here we are kicking off this season, and I have not physically like grabbed the wheelbarrow and loaded it up with compost and done anything like that. So my projects have changed on the farm of what I can and can't do just because of that.
Do you miss it?
What I do miss it. I miss it so much, but I am determined to get back out there. And every week I'm in physical therapy and strengthening my core. Because I'm 42 years old and decided, hey, I'm gonna have this baby. So, not the same as it being if you're 24 years old, right? So, I'm determined to get back out there. But it's still, I have a great crew this year, a new crew, and they're doing wonderfully. So it's more of like, I guess, overseeing things and a little bit of propagation here and there. And of course, the catering side of things and the events. So.
Well, we just in case our listeners don't know you and don't know your farm and didn't hear our first episode, let's describe what your farm is like and what it's like to be there on the farm.
Yeah. Well, we are set like right in the middle of the Northeast Coley neighborhood, where our plot is about an acre. I'm like looking outside right now at it from my office. So let me just describe to you what I see.
Perfect.
As soon as you pull up, big blue sign out front says Side Yard Farm and Kitchen. You can't miss it. There's a huge red barn. You walk up the gravel driveway and you're just greeted by about 24, 50 foot by 3 foot garden beds, 2 greenhouses. And as you move towards the back of the property, which is our events area, there's a dining area, a bar area, a couple tool sheds, and then a huge back lawn, which that's where we host a lot of our events, like drag shows, weddings, bike and movie nights, brunches, dinners, all that fun stuff, yoga on the farm. Yeah.
So
Perfect.
fun.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place. I want to definitely encourage people to come to your events on the farm. Do you have spring events posted for what you've got going on there?
Yeah, I have April, May, and June up right now. April, I'm sorry, we have March. I'm so sorry. March, April, May. They say like mom brain or pregnancy brain is a real thing. It's like a fog. And like I have that, everybody. So March, April, May is up right now on our website. And we're kind of hitting March off with a lot of grief and plant sales. So we have our Lost Table Grief group that meets up about once a month at the farm, and that is hosted by the Portland Grief House. And then my friend Jamie Thrower has Queer Grief Club, and she'll be popping up here every month throughout the season. And then our wonderful plant sales that we host March basically through June. Folks come out with their families. It's usually on a Saturday or Sunday. We have mimosas, coffee, cinnamon rolls, and all the plants you could ever want for your garden. And
do people have to show up for something that's planned, or can they just come to the farm?
For things like plant sales, they could just show up. When there's a ticket link on our website and you click on it, then you buy a ticket. So like a farm brunch, a dinner, a movie night, something like that, you'll have to purchase ahead of time. So we get a head count. But yeah, and the grief group as well. RSVP is always best. The Lost Table is something we've been doing for God, I think like 12 or 13 years now, ever since my father passed. And it's just a gathering of folks that come together. They bring it's like a potluck. They bring a dish to share. Usually it's a dish from like the person that they lost. Like, this is my mom's lasagna. I want to share it with everybody. And we all just kind of break bread together, share stories, cry, laugh, all in good company of people that are experiencing what you're experiencing through grief. It's wonderful. It's probably one of my favorite things that we do here at the farm. It's a free gathering, of course. And I'm really excited to be working with Jamie Thrower of Queer Grief Club, to also have her here popping up throughout the season. So grief is, really heavy right now, especially I think in the world. And it's something that's definitely needed. So.
Stacy, you and I have had long conversation before. I think you were at the beach or something and we were chatting, but
yes,
I don't remember what it was. Maybe you were in a Farm to Fork program or something like that. But from that conversation, I a lot of times reflect about your Greek life and the movie Big Fat Greek Wedding. And I kind of get them kind of interchanged because of some of the stories you shared about your mom. And yeah, and I'm like, wait, no, that's Stacy. No, that's the movie. No, because I just feel like you're just so vivacious and full of energy and love about your family, and I find that to be very adorable. I like it a lot, and I think when people come to the farm, they probably feel that branding.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely have tried to replicate. I didn't know it for the longest time. It kind of hit me a couple of years ago where I was like, wait a minute, what I've created here at the farm and like the feeling I want people to leave with is kind of how I was raised and like my big Greek family and the way my mom took care of us and, grew everything from scratch. I mean, I'm the youngest of 7 and I was like glued to my mom from a very young age of just watching her just in the garden, bringing everything up from the backyard, making these huge meals for all of us, foraging. Not really. Okay. We grew up in LA and it's kind of funny because I've like said this before too in like an interview, but people are like, what are you foraging like in Los Angeles? Like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I used to go with my mom and her like Greek golden girlfriends, I used to call them. And it would just be up in the hills, like from where we grew up, and it's where people actually live. And my mom's rule of thumb is if the fruit is hanging over the fence, you take it. If it's dying on the sidewalk, you pick it up. They're not eating it. So like we would cruise around and just like, oh, cool, look, there's some figs right there. Hey, is that a walnut tree? There we go. And there was always like a pocket knife in the glove compartment and like a king size pillowcase in the back trunk my whole life for that reason.
Do you work with Portland Fruit Tree Project at all?
No, I mean, I think a long time ago we may have gotten some, like they've offered some trees to us in the past, but nothing where we've collaborated on an event before.
Oh, I'm going to connect you with them. I think we're going to do a event here where we make pie crusts. There's an event through them where they're going to bring people into the Food Innovation Center. We're going to do pie crusts, getting ready for the fruit season. It's on March 14th. I don't know what the cost is, but it kind of reminds me of the type of stuff that you're doing.
Cool.
Building community around food.
I think that's the thing that I love the most about what you bring to our community and our city and our culture is that you do have this wonderful way of having these events that do feel like you're part of the family and you're part of, for people, I think that don't have big Greek families or people that they're connected to from maybe their own personal lives. Like that doesn't matter when you go there. You provide that for people that I think don't have that. You give this like opportunity for people to feel safe and loved and wanted and able to have a good time on the farm. And I think it's just like the most beautiful thing. I'm so into it.
I'm going to ask Stacy about pies when we come back from break.
Oregon State University's College of Agricultural Sciences and the Food Innovation Center are proud sponsors of Meaningful Marketplace. With a mission to serve all Oregonians, we are committed to giving voice to those whose food and agricultural stories are not always heard. By providing access and opportunity for a more diverse and just food system, because food brings people together.
We're back from break. Hey, Stacy, do you guys make pies at your farm with some of the fruit that you grow?
We do sometimes, especially for a lot of our dinners or dessert for wedding clients when we host private weddings here and stuff like that. Pre-COVID, we hosted like a lot of cooking classes. We think we might bring those back, probably not this year, but starting next year. Working with the Pacific Northwest CSA Coalition, and doing like a series of cooking classes. They might happen this year. Again, I have a baby. I'm really trying to like keep doing our events that we've been doing for this is our 16th season. But yes, back to pie crust. Yes, I make pies.
So you have your CSA shares that you do every year. Does that include a huge variety of products? Can you tell us about some of the things people might receive in their CSA shares?
Sure. So we have a 70-person CSA share. We have like 20 half shares available and 50 full shares. The full share, you'll get about 7 to 13, 14 items in your box, depending on the time of season. So in the spring, it's a little bit lighter, more greens heavy. And then as we move into summer, you see a lot more of those, summer crops and a lot of diverse herbs as well. So for example, let's talk about what a spring one might bring. Maybe like
you and Sarah both have lavage.
Oh yeah, or
love it.
Lovage. You
I
can
do
say
too.
people totally. Who knows what's correct? I don't know. Lavage is a fancy way of saying it. But people definitely get that in their CSA because it grows like a weed. It's crazy. So we definitely like to mix up the herbs. So you might get like 2 different herbs every single share, but it's like lovage. We have lemon verbena. Then you might see some, green coriander seeds in there. Everything always comes with a recipe, by the way, too, because people might be like, what is this? How do I cook with this? Borage greens, which are kind of interesting and are used in a lot of Italian cooking, especially like in pasta fillings. Lettuce mix, radishes, turnips, carrots, beets, fennel, onions, green garlic we go crazy on. I could see it right now from my office. We have several beds full of spring garlic. Pea shoots and arugula. So yeah, a lot of greens in the springtime. Summertime, we really amp it up, and then you'll have a lot of greens, but you'll also see like ground cherries, Mexican gherkins, cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes. Did I say eggplant already? Eggplant. Summer squash. Yeah, we grow a lot of stuff on our tiny little plot of land, and it's amazing how much we pump out of this property. Like I said, we have about a full acre. We probably do about 3/4 of that into production, and we interplant like crazy. And these 50-foot beds, you might, if you come to an event, people really like to examine and walk by. They're like, whoa, things are planted really close together. Hey, is that lettuce mixed with, like, we'll have heads of lettuce and in between there'll be fennel or bunching onions. So interplanting has really is something we've always done since the beginning. And it's just getting the most out of our garden beds and just using intensive farming practices to feed as many people as we can, not just through CSA. We still sell to chefs. So we have at least 6 restaurant accounts still. We kind of just swapped during COVID. We kind of stopped delivering to restaurants, cut back on all the restaurants we sold to, have the chefs come pick up here, and then switch to the CSA model, which we love so much more. Obviously, I love working with chefs for sure, and they're my buddies. But like I said, we still keep on about a handful of them, and but it's more opportunity for families to come to the farm, pick up their CSA share, and that's kind of our thing now.
That's so cool. I like that you kind of stuck with that because I think you were just kind of starting that out last time we talked to you, but it seems to be working for the farm, which is really nice. I did have a question about what I know you're having some plant sales, and I want to know kind of what can be planted right now because I feel like I always plant things at the wrong time and then they just die.
Yeah, totally. So we're getting started on seeding and planting up the farm in about a week. We just laid compost down, and a lot of the stuff that we're putting in the ground, we obviously sell in our nursery during our plant sales. So definitely a lot of greens. So like arugula, spinach, radishes, carrots, beets. We're going to go ahead and direct seed all of those. And then for planting wise, the stuff that people will see at the plant sale, again, a lot of greens. But like pak choi, celtus is another one that we grow a lot of here. It's like there's so many different names for it, but it's like a Chinese tower lettuce. You use the stalk itself. It has a little romaine head on top as well that you could also eat. We also do like a full bed of just like pea shoots. It's basically just like Austrian winter peas, our cover crop, but they make delicious and nutritious little micro pea greens.
Pesto or whatever.
You could totally make a pesto with them.
Peas.
Yeah, totally. Collard greens, kale, chard. There's a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Perfect. And what do you think is your favorite things to grow still lovage, or do you have a new vegetable muse?
Oh man. I'm still obsessed with lovage and always will be, and still always find new ways to use it. But honestly, there's like, I think my favorite thing is probably my child Sula that I grew in my belly.
Are you teaching other people how to grow those? That'd be a good
How
thing.
to grow babies.
Like how to grow and feed babies. That's a good idea.
Yes, I have gotten a lot of questions, especially from my queer friends. I'm like, how did you do that? So I let them know how to do it. It's been great. A few of them have gotten pregnant since. Honestly, I've been so focused on my little babe that like it's
life-changing.
Life-changing, yeah. And this is the first year where I'm kind of back in it, because last year she was born on like 2 days later, there was a plant sale. You know what I mean? I'm coming from home from the hospital and like, there's just people here. I'm like, hi, I just had a C-section. What's up? I'm barely walking to my house. And, she's born right in spring. So I kind of like missed out of last season for the most part. But this is my first year back at it where I'm like, oh, I'm so excited again about, everything, honestly, everything we're growing because I missed it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the year brings for you, and you'll find favorite things, I'm sure, to do with your daughter on the farm, and it'll be so rad and fun.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. And I think the hardest part right now is like keeping the like wood chips and gravel out of her mouth. That's all over the farm. But yeah, she's pretty attached to me, like with the ergo carrier, and I'm able to do some stuff and meet with the crew and do like morning meetings and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. They adore her, which is great. And I've been really working hard. God, it's taken me so many months, and I really am hoping to accomplish this in the next couple weeks. But I've been writing a little zine called Seed to Plate. It's the first volume of it. I want to do multiple volumes. So this will be the first one. So Seed to Plate. It's basically about like whole plant cooking and exploring like all the culinary uses for like all the forgotten things, like the stalks, the buds, the seeds, leaves of all the plants that you wouldn't even know you can do things with. Very excited about that. There'll be some, like at least 10 recipes is what I'm working on. And it's just finding the time, to be honest, of finishing it. So that's kind of where I'm at, but you get to see cool stuff in there, like how we, do pickled magnolia petals every spring, which we go and forage, which basically like go around town and whoever's trees hanging out front, steal some magnolias.
Ooh, there's a really good one on Webster Road over here in Milwaukee. This lady has 2 huge ones. I stopped over there and talked to her I think last summer, and I told her, you can eat those. And she's
Yeah.
like, what? I'm like,
They
you can
are,
pickle.
yeah, they're delightful. And there's so many things you could do with the brine after you've pickled them, like dressings, marinades, cocktails, even. I like make a yummy farmy ranch dressing sometimes with like some of the brine and chop up the pickled magnolias in there. It's just so fragrant and just a little bit medicinal, but super floral and delicious. And they keep for God. We still have some from like a year ago. I mean, they keep so well in the fridge as little quickles. So, but yeah, just cool stuff like that. And like nasturtiums, for example, how we make like the nasturtium capers with the seeds and, with the leaves, I call it seaweed, but like I deep fry them and then grind down some fine salt in a spice grinder and dust it with that. And we use it a lot for topping of things for the crunch. And it looks so translucent. It does look like seaweed and it's very salty, but it has like that pungent kick that you get from nasturtium leaves, that mustardy pungency. So kind of the cool stuff you'll find in the zine. But like I said, I'm hoping to get it done in the next couple weeks for like a spring release.
That sounds really fun. I can't, once you know about it, I'll watch your Instagram and I will be
Me too.
the first to get it. I think it will be so fun. Well, and you do so much for the community and for people around, and you provide all these wonderful events and safe places for people to be. And so my question for you is, what do you need from your community right now? What can we all do for you?
Oh, wow. I think just keep showing up for our events. This year, we are dedicated for every ticketed event that people attend at Side Yard this year. 10% of proceeds from every event are going towards humanitarian aid for Palestinians in Gaza. And I know it's a controversial issue. I understand that. But it's something that we are really dedicated to this season and forever until Palestine is free. And, that's posted up on our website. And we just had a fundraiser in January as well. We were able to raise $2,300. So I just want people to know, like, keep showing up. It matters. And, we also have equity pricing. We always have on all our ticketed events as well. So if you're unable to maybe afford one of our events, like we make it work for you to feel safe, to come experience something. We get volunteers all the time as well. Like it helps us out, but I do know that it does help other people out that really need to get their hands in the earth, in the ground to feel grounded. Maybe they just lost a parent or a sibling or some loss in their life. And they kind of just feel like in good company being here at the farm. And working with us for a day. People usually get produce in exchange for their time of being here. Maybe I'll buy lunch for everybody. Again, it's just like having people feel like they're family here,
Getting fresh air and being near the ground, sitting in the grass, having the wind blow through your hair. Those are all, I guess, negative electrons that recharge us.
Yeah.
It's a thing. You can look it up. But one of my friends, Danita Macy, told me, I was like, oh man, we went to the beach. And she's like, oh, that beach has so many negative electrons. The ocean's blowing on you, the water, the air, everything's fresh. You just get so invigorated and you just get feeling so much better just being outside.
Yeah. I see that a lot here at the farm. And again, that's why we host a lot of grief events here that people feel safe to be here and to be vulnerable and to talk about their lost loved ones. When I used to go to like grief groups after I lost my dad, it was like in hospitals or like settings that are kind of triggering. And you come out here and you're just like, you just feel safe and you feel good and you're in good company and you could just let it all out or not and just listen and eat some good food. So yeah, we try to have like a little bit of everything for people, not just the sad stuff, not just, come and talk about fucking grief or whatever. It's like, no, come to a drag show. And like, you don't have to fucking be queer to come to a drag show. Come be in our community. Obviously I'm queer and like, I'm always sharing who I am and my community with anybody that aligns with, like have this, like all our allies out there. And Yeah, our space is just, it's really a space for everybody. And that's kind of what it's become all these years. Anybody wants to host a workshop or anything like that, come on out, email me. Like, space is yours. Yeah.
I love that, Stacy. You have continued to do great things for our community here in Portland. And I just encourage people to go to your events, go to your farm dinners, go to your plant sales. The plant sales are a good way to come and see the farm if you go to those. And the dinners are an excellent way to really like hang and engage and eat the food from the farm and really check it all out. So everybody, I encourage you to do that. One last question. Sarah, do you have one last question for Stacy before we wrap?
Well, I had a question and guess what? I forgot what it was. So now I can't think of it. So there. It was going to be a good one though. Oh, maybe I'll remember next week.
Well, you did mention like my Greek family and my big fat Greek wedding earlier. And just so you know, you should make a note on May 5th is our annual Greekster celebration. It's Greek Easter, but I call it Greekster. And it happens to be on May 5th this year. It's a Sunday, and that's probably like one of our biggest events of this season because I think people just really love Greek food. But it's a huge buffet. It's all my mom's recipes. My mom used to be able to come out here and cook with me, and we throw down huge buffet, all you can eat. I mean, people are walking away with like boxes, like takeout boxes. And we do Greek dancing, we drink ouzo, everybody just sits together and has a good time. So I encourage everybody who wants to be part of my big fat Greek family to come and check that out on May 5th. Tickets will go on sale about a month prior. Our online calendar has it up there right now, but you can't buy tickets yet. So, and then Mother's Day brunch is also happening in May. So those are our two first foodie events. It's in May. Usually I start them a little earlier, but again, I have a child and I am not pushing it. So we'll just have to wait for the goodness.
So, and if everybody follows the Side Yard Farm Instagram, Stacy posts when those tickets go up, usually is how I see when the events are that you're having. So just watch and follow along and look for those tickets because the events are so fun. And hopefully Sarah and I, we should figure out a time that we can go to one of the events. I want to go to
one of the movies.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
I don't know if I could ride my bike all the way from Milwaukee over there.
Oh, you don't have to ride your bike.
I could just put it in my trunk and like park a block away and then grab my bike. And
you're totally fine.
You don't have to bike in. We're pretty far. We're far away.
We just like do that to limit the traffic out front of the farm and to keep my neighbors happy. Yeah. But we also are like a very accessible space for anybody also who is in a wheelchair. There's we have a separate entrance that is really easy for folks to get here, and we have an ADA bathroom as well. So definitely kept that in mind when building the farm several years ago. But you do not have to ride your bike because we know not that many people can. But they start in June and they end in August. It's once a month, the second Wednesday of those months in the summer, and we kick it off with a queer comedy show for the first hour. We've been doing that for a handful of years now. Hosted by my friend Quinn Salame. And it's hilarious and amazing and gets people in a good mood. Then we watch some classic nostalgic movie, maybe from the 90s or 80s or whatever. Sometimes people put a vote in. I'll do that on Instagram. But they're a lot of fun. And then we spotlight two food vendors, somebody in the dessert world and a chef from Portland. And then my crew are slinging drinks at the bar. And that's bike and movie night.
Very cool. Fun. Well, everyone check out events. We recommend that you go there. And Stacy, it was so good to see you. It's been a while. And so it was good to chat and hear what's going on at the farm. Thanks for taking the time to come on the show.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
We record Masoni and Marshall live every week. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform like iTunes. Thank you to our audio engineer, Alon, and our production assistant, Chelsea. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can send us a DM on our Instagram, Masoni and Marshall. We'll be back next week. Thank you for joining. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
You're listening to the Startup Radio Network. Listen, learn, launch. 10% of our gross revenue goes directly to women entrepreneurs in developing countries around the world through Kiva's microfinance program.